Welcome to In the Arena. I'm your host, Mindy McAlinden. Today, we're joined by Kalene Griffith. She is the president and CEO of Visit Bentonville. This is the organization that is branding and promoting Bentonville's tourism scene. We're going to talk about how the city is evolving and why it is becoming a top destination. So, Kalene, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Oh, I'm so excited for you to be here. So let's start at the beginning. Tell us a little bit about your journey to Visit Bentonville and what motivated you to step into this role.
Well, it's interesting that I've been in tourism my whole life. I just didn't know it until I took on this job. But first and foremost, my mom and dad retired, kind of semi-retired here in 2004. And so they kept inviting me to this area. So we came and visited, and then they would call me about jobs for the full year and about opportunities here. I always tell people that they really didn't care if I came. They really wanted their grandkids close to them. So I was the tool that brought them here. So that was really great. But I've been in the industry forever. My mother owned a restaurant, so I was in hospitality. I worked in hotels, restaurants for years. I had the opportunity to work at Disney when I was in college for about 2 years as a lifeguard to Typhoon Lagoon. Met my husband. We moved away. Then we loved Disney so much. I moved back and worked for their travel and tourism industry. And then when we had kids working in that industry, it was a little bit more time-wise. I stepped back and went home and did director of special events for Chambers of Commerce's, and my husband worked for 84 Lumber, moved around. So my background in sports, as I traveled and played sports, my kids traveled and played sports, had this opportunity that it came into this. So all the things that I've done are very involved with Visit Bentonville, such as we bring in bus tours, we bring in sporting events, we work with our hotels and restaurants. So all the things I've done give me this really kind of an eclectic background that really fits everything that we're working on in the community.
Isn't that fascinating how those pieces kind of come together? You know, you kind of did this, did that, and then you end up in this one job where you were like, this is what I've been working towards.
Yes,
I didn't even know.
Exactly.
So now, as I understand it, you've been in this role for almost 20 years. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I have to know, because we moved here maybe 10 years ago, and I know how much has changed in 10 years, which has been unbelievable. But tell me what it was like 20 years ago and what you've seen.
Well, I think my favorite thing is I talk about this, that when I first started, that was about 20,000 people. We're now at about almost 67,000 people. We had 2 restaurants on the square, and our big attraction was being the home of Walmart, and the Five and Dime, Walton Five and Dime was the big attraction. So it was really exciting to be able to see that. But it had this seed at the time when I got hired, August of 2005. Crystal Bridges was announced in May of 2005. So I had this opportunity to be able to knew that there was this vision of what was going to come. So I tell people that I got on the bus at the right time. So that it just was a smaller storytelling opportunity. And now we've evolved into this community of numerous opportunities, a variety of opportunities at this point. But I loved it right from the beginning, because the people are what make this city amazing, and the excitement, the energy, and the passion is what was most exciting for me at that time.
I have to agree with you. It is the people that make this town the town that it is. And it just, when we moved here, we fell in love. It was just an amazing group of people, just real heart of America, true believers. I mean, just I don't know. It's just a really great town. And so I love what you've done with it. So let's start with maybe start with an overall vision, and then let's get into some of the projects. So start with, what is your overall vision, or what is kind of your guiding mission behind what you do with tourism in Bentonville?
Yeah, I think our mission is to brand and promote Bentonville as a vibrant destination. Hopefully, we're enhancing the quality of life and stimulating economic development that really strengthens our local community. So the stories that we're telling and the experiences that we're creating, we are making things happen in our community that impact our locals as well as those visitors. And that's really important to our organization. I think we're also trying to be that destination that it's culture, it's sports, it's aviation, it's culinary. So it's all of these things that we can put together that intersect and create an experience that inspires visitors to come, but also, impacts and, promotes that local resident.
It's got to be difficult to have so many nascent industries at the same time. Like typically, if a city's growing and then it has its industries and then they bring in a new industry but with Bentonville, we seem to have all these nascent industries that are just exploding at the same time. I would imagine that is like herding cats to figure out how do we fit this into tourism.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I say to people when I speak nationally is I say, you find out what your assets are and how do you develop those assets to tell the stories that are most impactful, that create that inspiration to come to our city. So it's one of those that I think of cycling. There was this vision of creating 5 miles of trails and going and telling that story after we had those 60 miles, because most people don't visit if it's not over 10 miles of trails. So you're looking at that. How do you create that vision and that, you have to inspire people to come. So it has to have some kind of hold on it. So I think it's the storytelling that we create and the partnerships that we create and the collaboration that we create with the folks that are leading those visions. Because in a sense, we don't own any property. Yeah. These stories are everybody else's stories in our community. And how do we tell these stories that impact the rest of the community with an economic impact that will drive their business to be successful?
That is good. And so let's talk about what some of those top initiatives are for you right now. So let's get down into the weeds.
Yeah.
And tell me about what are the big projects Visit Bentonville is working on?
So I think one of the things that a lot of people don't know is when we talk about tourism, we are a destination management organization, not just a destination marketing organization. So we partner with our city and our community leaders. So we're really focusing on how do we bring people in the cycling? What's going on in the cycling? If it's trail development, how are we supporting those folks that are trail development? What are we doing to tell that story so we have more people in our community that build up our hotels and our restaurant experiences? What are we doing in the aviation area? How do we get people to fly in and create their experience when they get here for 2 to 3 days before they fly back out into our municipal airport? We're also looking at the arts. One of the things I think with Crystal Bridges, you know that Crystal Bridges is expanding in 26. So how do we prepare ourselves? How do we tell that story in 25 to make sure people are planning 26 to come and see that expansion at Crystal Bridges? One of the ever-growing newest is the music industry and what's happening in the music. So we do have a lot of different things. We have our hands a little bit of it, but our job is to how do we create those stories that really bring people into the community? And that's the most important thing. And I think that's what we have people in the community have kind of figured out, is that we're that storytelling aspect of things. But we also have a sales team that goes out. And since those are the things that we're talking about in the sales, why we should be talking to what kind of culinary conferences are out there? What kind of cycling conferences are out there? What kind of arts conferences are out there? And our newest is what kind of medical tourism? We know that the medical field is going to be looking at the Heartland Whole Health Institute, Alice Walton School of Medicine, their new hospital that's coming in. We are going to have an opportunity to elevate that as well, and creating that experience around the medical industry.
Is it hard to position Bentonville, Arkansas, when you go out and you talk to these groups? Do they kind of go, Bentonville, Arkansas? Or do you find that it is because it's unexpected? Like what we have here is so unique, right? I mean, Bentonville is just this unique place in the world. And so do you find that people are kind of more curious because it's unique, or is it a harder sell?
Yeah, you're going to laugh because I think curiosity is the number one opportunity for us. I think what we try to do is we want to show people what makes us different from others. But we also want to show the ease and accessibility that we have in Bentonville that not very many people have. I think we talk about the world-class art in a small town setting where it's the accessibility of it doesn't cost to go to Crystal Bridges. I think the over 100 miles of accessible single track, and that is continuing to grow, and the progressiveness of those single tracks that you're not seeing that from a lot of different people. We can get on a trail that you may be a first timer and still ride our single track trails. But if your mom or dad are advanced, you can ride alongside them. They're going to do the jumps. You're going to take the alternate route, which I take the alternate route. My wheels stay on the ground. But I think those are the things. In our rapid culinary scene, we have these amazing chef-driven restaurants and just the variety of the culinary that we have here. And of course, I always talk about the friendly people, the hospitality that we create, the experience you get here. Everyone loves everyone when they come into our community. So we're really fortunate. I think one of the things I think I've heard others say this is that we're doubling down what makes Bentonville, Bentonville. Mm-hmm. That's the most important part of our job is how do we create Bentonville as a once in a lifetime kind of opportunity to come and visit.
And I think that is what we've always heard. I mean, the growth here has been rapid. It's just been unbelievable over the last 4 or 5 years. I don't need to tell you that. You see that. But I think that's the one thing that I constantly hear is people here don't want to lose what makes Bentonville, Bentonville. And so I love that that's your focus. I think that's a great way to kind of protect that heritage and the thing that we all love without losing it. I often tell people that we are the biggest small town you'll ever go to. Yep. It is pretty cool. And I think you're continuing to sell that story. So tell me what you think maybe upcoming events that you think will have the biggest impact on Bentonville in the next 12 to 18 months from your point of view.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I think that I kind of mentioned this, but the growth at Crystal Bridges, I think the new lineup of the music programming at the Momentary, I think they've almost tripled the number of shows there. I think continuing to grow in some of our events like Lifetime, Little Sugar, and Big Sugar that come in October, that those just continue to grow. They sell out with them and within 30 minutes to an hour every year. I think our Bentonville Film Festival is in its 11th year. It continues to grow. I think Bike Fest continues to grow. We're seeing those things that we've talked about where it's the cycling, the arts, we're seeing that elevate. I think a couple things that I've noticed is like holiday lights. When we first used to go to the Christmas downtown holiday lights with the city of Bentonville, one of the things that I remember, it was probably about 20 to 40,000 people. I have a software that told us we had over 150,000 people on our square during our Christmas holiday lights. That's local and visitors. So it's just that is continuing to see that we're getting that. I think the things that I see those are going to be ones that draw significant attention. I think we also know that the new hotel developments are doing. I think one of the things that we're going to see a drastic change in this next year is what the new Walmart Home headquarters or home office, I guess I should say, the new Walmart home office is opening up, is open this year, but their staff is still coming over, transitioning. I think 2026, we're going to see a big draw because people are going to want to see it. It is a unique home office that they've done such a great job of intersecting within our community that you just don't get with most large home offices like that. It's not accessible. We can ride a bike right through the middle of it. They're creating restaurants right on campus. So it's going to be this community-driven corporate office that I think is going to be unique and exciting to come and visit and see.
It is. I'm so glad you mentioned that. And I know that's a little bit off of the topic, but it is a community within itself. And It does have restaurants that are accessible, and it has daycare, and it has park-like aspects to it where you can kind of sit or go by the lakes and bicycle through. I mean, it is truly a unique experience. It is not a corporate campus, so to speak. It is just it's as you said, it's part of the community. And I love that you brought that up because I would have overlooked that. Yeah. So how hard is it, or how much do you interact with the local businesses and the hotels or nonprofits as you start to say, we're bringing people here? How much are you actually interacting with the people, the businesses and community that's already here?
Well, first and foremost, I think that's what's brought my 20 years here has been my success as the CEO of Visit Bentonville is understanding the necessity to be part of the community. It's not something, we don't own anything, like I said before. So we have to be working with all of our local businesses, organizations, events to tell their story, because we don't have a story without them. And I think we meet quarterly with our restaurants. We meet quarterly with our hotels. We meet with our retail shops that have nothing to do with us, but we think they're part of that Visit Bentonville experience. We meet twice a month with community leaders. We have a public relations committee that meets with our communications team. These are all things that are very vested in us. Even so, this last year, we hired a community engagement person that makes sure that we're out there talking about what we're doing. They're also finding out what's going on, because that to me is one of the most important things we do. Collaboration is key to our organization. It is probably at the top of the list of what we do to make our organization successful, which then makes our community successful. Because if we're communicating with people, it can only go in the right direction up, and that makes a huge success for all of us. I think that, I think it's important to me, because I think it shows this unity is what I think, that's important for me.
And I would say, or maybe would you say that local people would also be maybe some of the best ambassadors that you have, as we go out and we tell that story of where we live, right?
Yes.
Do you do anything to work with just kind of the average Joe like me, that you go, when you leave, here's what you do, or have a T-shirt that says Visit Bentonville? Yeah. Like, how do you work with just local people to become ambassadors for the city?
We started in a program called the Bentonville Champions. And we have a group that you can come, and we give you an orientation, and you can be part of our events. You can learn about things. We have a new resident newsletter, so you know what's going on. You can sign up at Visit Bentonville on the newsletter, and there's a resident one. And that's been a huge success for us. And you don't have to be a Bentonville resident, but it lets you know what's happening for that month. It comes out the first of every month, right around the first, it depends on the day of the week. But it comes out, and you have an opportunity to see what events are that month, what's happening. Maybe we'll even do some stories. We also put our monthly podcast link on there. So anytime we're talking to somebody, usually they're associated with the upcoming months with an event, maybe something that's happening in the community. But you have all the past ones on there also. But it really does, that newsletter kind of keeps you in the know. And it's also great because, traffic might be busier during the film festival if you're in the downtown area. So if you know what's going on, you kind of can judge what time you maybe have to leave your house at a certain day, or know that what's going on so that you can attend those events. And so it's really important. We also have a button on our calendar of events that if you have a community event, you can add it to our calendar. It doesn't have to be just for visitors. It can be for the locals. That was something really important to me about 2 years ago, because people were like, we don't have any place to put our calendar community. So we just have a button, and it's called a community button. You can hit the community, and it's all the things that are going on that visitors might enjoy, but it really knows that it may be catered to the community. But we want to be part of that storytelling opportunity, because those are just as important to us as what's happening with our visitors' opportunities.
Yeah, that is fantastic. And tell me that website real quick.
visit-bentonville.com.
Okay, fantastic. So one more question, and then we'll wrap up a little bit. What does success look like for you in Bentonville? When you say this is the goal we're headed toward, what is success? Because there's really no end to tourism. So how do you measure success?
Yeah. Well, I think it's really, for me, the success is making sure, I think you said it earlier, how do we make sure that Bentonville still keeps that community charm? And I always use the saying, we're a small town, a small town feel, but big city amenities. And it's kind of just a different look on the way you said yours. But I also think that what is important for us and that success is people are still wanting to live here because of the quality of life. How do we keep those quality of life initiatives for the locals? But then how do we create this economic impact that a visitor does for our businesses, from the restaurants to the hotels to the retail? Because when you say that we only have 67,000 people, having the number of restaurants we have couldn't be sustained if we did not have those visitors. So how do we make sure that those two are really intersecting and thriving in our community. And hopefully we can be part of that storytelling, but also if there are challenges, how do we help support those challenges and elevate those experiences from that side? And I think I'm really proud of what our community has done. I'm really proud of the investments that our community has invested in, as well as, public and private funding opportunities that have been created, because I don't think we would be where we are today without those partnerships and that collaboration. And I think for us, all the things that are happening around us, we just continue to tell that story and make sure it's a positive story and stays positive within our community. And I think that's what makes the success, is that we keep telling those successful stories that are impacting our businesses.
Wonderful. So we're going to wrap up, and I always ask the same two questions. First, is there one dream project that you would like to see become reality over the next few years?
Gosh, that's a tough one, because, we have so many wonderful things. I think the one thing that there's two things that I have in mind. One is, I think, a really cool event center that we could do sporting events, meetings. I don't want it to be a convention center. I think there's some uniqueness to what we could do. I don't want to be like everybody else. Like I said earlier, I want to be different, of course. But I think we could do an event center that we could host sporting events, we could host meetings, we could host community events in it. And I think it could really tie well in there, that maybe between, around a 2,000 seated type of facility, something like that. I think the other thing is, I think one of the things that Bentonville has an opportunity to do, we have a lot of stuff for families, but that teenage years, what could we create some experiences for those teen years so that they can have things to do? We have this amazing cycling that you're doing, but if you're not a cyclist or an avid cyclist, what are those other things that they could be doing in our community 12 months out of the year? So I think those are my two big initiatives for 2025. We're doing that destination master plan, and hopefully it's all about creating the gathering places for our locals and our visitors. And that's important to me. So how do we do that? And how do we support those initiatives?
Those are great ideas. I hope those do become reality in the next couple of years. I would love to see those.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, last question. 3 things people may not know about you. Just kind of click them off.
All right. I played rugby at Kansas State University. I was a lifeguard at Walt Disney World at Typhoon Lagoon. A lot of people don't know that. And some people would be very surprised. I don't drink coffee. I always tell people my energy and passion it's all natural.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, you and I are going to differ on that one, because man, coffee is kind of my lifeblood. Okay.
I wish I liked it.
Oh, that's so funny. So thank you so much for being here. I do want to give you an opportunity as we close, just for anyone who's listening outside the area, give them your pitch. Why should Bentonville be their next stop?
I think most importantly that this unique outdoor experience with the arts that intersect, it's the best possible way to experience a community and enjoy it. It has this, and there's innovation every day in our jobs and in our community. And I think you can grow and be inspired here. Hopefully, we have communities coming from all over to see what we're doing. Hopefully these visitors will come and see what's going on, and they'll be just as inspired to go back to the community, or maybe even relocate to our area.
Wonderful. Kalene, thank you so much for taking time to be here today. Really enjoyed the conversation, and I'll look forward to connecting with you soon.
Thank you. Thanks, Mindy, for having me. I really appreciate it and love talking to you.
Thanks. Have a good one.
You too. Thanks.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed our conversation with Kalene Griffith. She is the president and CEO of Visit Bentonville. And she shared with us just some of the amazing things that are happening in Bentonville. Bentonville, as she said, is the best small town with big town amenities. And it's true. We have world-class cycling, world-class art. We are getting world-class aviation, world-class culinary. It is unbelievable what is happening here. So I encourage you to come visit Bentonville and check us out. Look forward to seeing you next week in the arena.